Good evening, friends. I'm Steve Benoon. You are watching Benoon Institute of Biblical Research, and something I've been looking into and I wanted to be able to share with you regarding the situation in Lebanon and how this may be a cyclical event in biblical prophecy. I don't say that it's actually fulfillment, but I find in Zechariah very strangely the way it's worded in the Hebrew language, very strangely, that this could very well be pointing to a cyclical event in prophecy. But before I go into Zechariah 11, let me just kind of back up a little bit and share some things with you guys. You know, veterans today, just like INL, they had reported very accurately, who was responsible, who was behind this attack in Beirut. Now, of course, mainstream media is trying to push this as not an attack, but it was an accident. Fireworks factory, they tell you, caused all of this. We're not going to go into that because we know what happened on INL. You try to tell the truth and boom, you're out of here. But besides veterans today, we ourselves had very, very significant intel. On one email we had, we were seeing that a possible tactical NUKE was going to be used to send a message to Hezbollah. We also had, though, something that I thought was very fascinating, and that was another intel about 11 days before the actual event, where the question came up about what was going on with Hezbollah, or going on in Lebanon, I should say. And this is what was said to me. So I asked, what's up with Lebanon? They told me, we, as in Israel, are getting ready to go in and wipe out Hezbollah if it comes to that. That Israel is sending messages to Hezbollah that we don't want to come in, but we will if we have to. So Israel was sending messages to Hezbollah. Well, later in this exchange here that I was given, he was like, that's interesting. But he hadn't noticed anything in the news. And then he noticed there was something that he had overlooked. When he went back and looked at some of the news just to see, there was an article that had come out in Israeli news, not in U.S. news, but an article that had came out. The chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, paid an unannounced visit to Israel on July 24th and met with senior Israeli military and intelligence officials. The Israeli media say the unexpected trip came amid rising tensions on Israel's northern border and the possibility of a military showdown with the Lebanese Hezbollah, which is supported by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, I would put the link for the article in there for you, and maybe I should, because I looked up these articles, but what's really interesting is when you go to the articles, globalsecurity.org is one of those, and the other one is stripes.com. On U.S. Joint Chiefs visits Israel amid tensions with Iran in global security, as soon as you open that side up, whoop, your connection is not fully secure, it says on my screen. Back to safety. If you do the stars and stripes, you get message 404. Whoops, that was unexpected. Maybe the page was moved or deleted, or perhaps the address is mistyped. Contact us and go back to the home page. So there was a concerted effort to scrub that meeting between Milley, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Israeli officials that also included a conference call with Netanyahu, Benny Gantz, you name it. Even Mossad, head of Mossad, Mr. Cohen, was also part of that meeting. And of course it was about Hezbollah. So then I decided to go back to Scripture and look at this. And as I was looking, I'm just going to read this to you in Zechariah 11, but then I want to break down this word study on this. Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. Wail, O cypress tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the glorious ones are spoiled. Wail, O you oaks of Bashan, for the strong forest is come down. Hark the wailing of shepherds, for their glory is spoiled. Hark the roaring of lions, for the thickets of the Jordan are spoiled. Thus saith the Lord, my God, feed the flock of slaughter, whose buyers, or that could be owners, slay them, and hold themselves not guilty, that they sell them, say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. You know, so much could be said on that. Because when I look at the Scripture and I begin to break these things down and look at Zechariah 11, and I realize, although the fulfillment could have been years and years ago, but I see a cyclical side to this. Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. The cedars are what is great of Lebanon. The believers, the Christian community, is what was attacked and hit in Lebanon. Even the political leaders totally stepped down from their positions. Howl, fir tree, for the cedar is fallen, because the mighty are spoiled. Howl, O you oaks of Bashan, for the forage of the vintage is come down. The attack was in the heart of the Christian community of Lebanon. It wasn't Hezbollah. It was an attack on Christianity. The government may be backslidden, but they are definitely professing Christians. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter. Feed them. Oh, actually, let's go to verse 3. There is a voice of howling of the shepherds, for their glory is spoiled. A voice of roaring of young lions, for the pride of Jordan is spoiled. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter. Whose possessors, kana, Hebrew, the word there, which is actually by implication, it's their ownership. Their owners slay them. You know, the whole purpose is to overtake this country. As General Wesley Clark said, 7 nations are going to be taken down in 5 years. Lebanon was on that list as well. Possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them, all right, so the owners, they that sell them, they were sold out by a nation. They that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. America sold out Lebanon. If you look at it, I mean, just the way that I see this, if we look at this from what it seems to appear to be, when the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mr. Miley, goes over there, and everybody likes to tout the Trump administration as all these Christians that are standing on the side of righteousness, he goes over there. What did he do? He sold out Lebanon so that that little country south of the border there could send that message. And it goes on to say, and hold themselves not guilty. America is supposed to be known as a Christian nation, and you allowed the destruction of the cedars of Lebanon, the great. And the reason why they're called the cedars of Lebanon is because, just like in the case of Syria, we're talking about some of the oldest Christians on the face of the earth, as far as the descendants of the apostles, and all of them are still from that region of the world. So the cedars of Lebanon have fallen. And according to what it says here, the ones that possess them, the ones that held them financially, sold them out. And they consider themselves not guilty. And they seldom say, "Blessed be the Lord." Oh yeah, they're more holier than thou. "For I am rich." And their own shepherds pity them not. Oh yeah, look at what the ministers are saying. Christian evangelists and television evangelists and independent media and all the others out there that are professing Christians. "Oh, look, Israel is offering them aid. See how great Israel is? Hezbollah blows up Israel and they send candy to their friends. But when Israel gets, when they get attacked, Israel goes and offers aid." This wasn't an attack against Hezbollah. This was an attack against the believers of Lebanon. Oh, they may have got the arms cache of Lebanon, no doubt about that. But who paid the price? The believers. The cedars of Lebanon paid the price. Let me add one more part here for you, because I think the next verse, verse 6, could be a very ominous warning to the believers of this nation that were part of that. "For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one into his neighbor's hand, and into the hand of his king. And they shall smite the land, and out of their hand I will not deliver them." Something to think about. I'm Steve Benoon with the Noon Institute of Biblical Research. Hopefully we'll be back up on Israeli News Live very soon, so be watching for that. And listen, if you haven't done so before, pray about supporting our broadcast here. You can join us over on IsraeliNewsLive.org. That's where you can support the Noon Institute by mail, as you'll see there on the website on the upper right-hand side there. We have our mailing address, or you can actually click right there and donate online. We thank you, and thank you for your support of this work and this ministry. God bless you.